don't write on the net. Another point to understand is that maybe we used to think about the new generation as digital natives. I don't like so much this term because they're not so different from us. For example, a lot of people say that young read all the time on the text on their smartphone and tablet and don't listen, for example, to other things. But we also change like in the past is that we are different, not so much. Is that has been an evolution or maybe sometimes evolution about the way in which they feel, we feel, and the way in which sharing. For example, you can see these two photos that taken in the same place. That was the St. Peter place in Rome, but in two different years, 2005 and 2013. Where is the big things that we can see that is different from the time? That is the way to feel the situation and to share it. All the two photos were taken in St. Peter's Place in the occasion of the action of the new Pope. So we can see that maybe people who was there was the same, but something was changed, and it was the way of the situation without other people, because they were there, but in 2013 they decided to share the moment not only with the people who was around them in the place, but without the digital instrument. But we are social using the web. We are social because human beings, and we can say that people is social. So we use all the instruments that the technology give us in a social way. For example, we have a lot of instruments to share photos, like Flirt or Picasa, for example. We have a lot of instruments to make some conversation with our friends or family or colleagues, for example, like Skype, Messenger, Yahoo, or WhatsApp, that is an instant messaging, Telegram, for example. We have a lot of instruments to share video or to give, for example, to play in gaming. So we use, or we can say that we have realized different instruments to try to be more social using the web, because it is social. But are really free use these instruments or jump into the deep? Because I think that we have a lot, and it's the most important things of why we use the social media a lot, is that we think that it's good to say what we, for example, we have freedom of expression, but it's really like this. It depends because using socials, like everything, means that we have some risk and we have opportunities. Are defined by opportunities, even times when we miss it. So, what are the opportunities that social media give us? For example, when I was a child, I didn't have a lot of these instruments. I have a paper address. Today we can use Facebook, for example, to take the contact with our friends or family or colleagues or other things. For example, here you can see it's a Windows. When as a child, I couldn't see all the things interesting that I find on YouTube. I don't have Skype, for example, so I had to make my conversion by phone with this type of phone. So the web, the technologies give great opportunities to share, to spread, to know more new things that are interesting, and that will be really good for our job in the future. We have to understand what are the risks inside, and why we have to thinking about what we are doing online. Because sometimes maybe using without awareness an instrument means that we're not using the instrument, but is the instrument that is using us. Maybe some of you know this thing that I have written about, for example, cyberbullying or internet sex, identity thief, internet fraud. There are some of the risks that we can find using the digital device without awareness and knowledge. But why? I have to say is that all the things that we are doing on it could be, we can say, it should be monitoring and because when we use a digital instrument, we give digital footprint or fingerprint. Information about our profile, give information about our data, for example, when we don't keep our password or personal detail, giving information, for example, when we make something in net. So why have to control our privacy? First, because sometimes if we don't think about what we are writing, we can give sensitive data. This was a survey made by eSkills Online. That was a survey made in Europe, in which we can say, for example, that the information that the children and teens show on their social networking profile, dividing in age and gender, are really sensitive, as, for example, photo that clearly shows our face, for example. Yes, I guess myself that was a child or a teen, I hope. Then, for example, they use a lot the last name, the home address, and their phone number, or maybe in their profile we can find the address and the name of their school. So these are all data that are sensitive because people I know could use this information to make more data, to take more information about the person who is writing this. And the privacy, for example, privacy, we can see that the photos and the materials that we share in social can be seen by everyone by default. Change the option about privacy and sharing. For example, we know that a lot of young people don't know the importance of password. The password is the only thing that could pay attention of our data, that should control and protect our data. And for example, we know that in the world, the only 5 passwords more common are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 passwords, our first name, the name of our family, or the date of birth. So we can understand that there is not a good attitude to protect our data, because our infos or information that everybody could say, reading our social profile, or reading the sensitive data that we always shared without think about that. Why have to manage the social profile? How? We have to manage the social profile first because by default the option are made to share the content, because the social media for with to share and make connect people, making in contact with people. So they don't they were not created to make a how we can say it, a private profile. That is why if you have some materials or photos that you don't want to share with other people, you can change this option in edit your profile. But have to understand that privacy can be perfect, because even if your photos or your social profile, for example, is private, but one of your friends has a public profile, it means that if he or she is sharing a photo with you and tag you, or make your name in the photo, you have to privacy. So the total private or privacy file could exist, because you have one of friends who has a public profile. Even if I don't want to share the photo will be shared. Even a lot of time we don't ask to people if they want or not to be posted in our social. And that's why maybe we could ask and make sure that the person is okay when sharing materials in which there are other people and not only us. If we have to make in contact with people and to tell our stories, and it's a good thing. But if we share photo or tag and make tags about people who don't want to stay in this story, it's not a good way. It's not appropriate. It could be to respect other people's privacy. I think is that when we photos, we are sharing also other data that are not the data that we only think about. They are called metadata. That are, for example, the location that it's shown that in some social we can, for example, decide to put on or put off. But each digital photo has a lot of metadata that are inside that we can see. For example, each digital photo can explain where we have, so the location, the geolocation where we have, the type of file in which the photo has taken, if it's JPEG or GIF. Another thing is the type of camera that has taken the photos, and also the account of the people who have taken the photo. The problem, for example, is that as metadata or sensitive data, there could be also the whole photo. For example, the background. We have a lot of games like, for example, Pokemon Go, in which we can share some photos that describe our home, or that can describe people who are inside, for example, our home, some picture or some furniture that are in our home. There are lots of sensitive data that are metadata, so are data that we share without awareness because we don't think about the potential impact and the risk that could be behind to share a little and simple photos. Why we don't reflect anymore? That is maybe a point that make a little bit, we can say, a difference between my generation and the new generation. Because I am 38 years old, so when I was a child, we don't have a lot of digital instruments. We have to pass on it, and we have to understand how these things work. Example, when I have to download an app or program or a list, for example, I make myself some questions. And if, for example, first of all, GPS, location, is it always necessary? If you are downloading an app, the service app you the term of use, ask some permission, authorization that we have to give in order to use the service. And this authorization, in the most cases, is about the location. But if I'm downloading a program or an app to read an ebook anywhere, why the service to work needs to know where I am? It's a technical need for application to work. So if the application wants to know other things, because to the ebook. So maybe it's good to ask a question and say, why do you want to know where I am? Because if the app is working, or I answer flag no, that's it. So that maybe want to make only marketing. But if I say no, application, the service that work, maybe it's asking that is not an app or service only to read the ebook. Maybe it's app that may let us read the ebook, also in the other things. And in this other thing, we can know what vision is right. Another thing, the app and the service that we uploading ask us is the authorization to others' apps. If you go to account setting of your social profile, that in this case I make the example with Facebook, but you can find also on Instagram. You can set in privacy app and website the other applications that are not Facebook, in which you have shared your account profile, so the data that you have done to Facebook to use the service, the term of use of that. And for example, in my case, I have done the authorization to these three different programs, Eventbrite, Share, and Twitter, to use my account Facebook to share the data. And in this case, for example, I use three different apps that in an interaction with my Facebook account. But a lot of time we don't know, for example, how many authorization we have done. Why? Because when we are uploading app, we don't read term of use and condition that the application are asking us. A lot of us make a flag only yes at the end of the long list of things that and the permission that the app is asking us. It is not good because we are doing this operation. That means that app has our permission to do what we want with our data. It's true that, for example, Facebook and the other social says that they will not use our photos to make a negative web reputation of us. But we could know that. Why? Because the term of condition that we are seeing, yes, it's a legal contract. That means that is a contract made by the service that could change only by the platform. For example, there are some changing in setting option about privacy or other things about social. They only that change, making a message with that. They don't ask to us if we are agree the change, for example, because the term of condition says that if you want to use that service, you have to accept the term of condition that are chosen by the platform. Another thing that the application asks to you is access to your contact. And I always make myself the question, why? If I'm uploading and downloading an app to run, why the app to work need to know my contact? Because in contrast with the other app to read the ebook that need to know where I am, an application to run, for example, could have the possibility to know where I am because maybe they want to measure our performance. But necessary to make the application work to give my contact in my phone, for example, in my phone or in my tablet. So the application is asking me to give the access to my contact. The things that in the last time applications are asking are about camera and memory cards. And I always make a question about this. Example, for application that needs camera, what could be? Maybe application like WhatsApp or Telegram when I want to send a photo to work, could be that they need the access to our camera. But other types of application, and I, for example, read an ebook or to run or to play a game, for example. Why? They need to our access, our camera. And why is so important to don't give the access because sometimes they ask the access to our memory card in which there are all our data, all our photos that are sensitive data. Because if we give to an app our permission to take our name, our photos, address, you understand that we are giving our identity to other people. That we are giving a digital identity that is in different case a real identity. That is why I have to read well what the app and the service are asking us. So understand that today there is a difference between digital identity and real identity, even though our digital identity could modify also from other people. For example, if yesterday your teacher says to you, we will speak with Emma, some of you could try to research me from social. And research different image of me. But when you research it, as I have shown in the past slide, you can see that there are some photos in which there are other people. So the real identity is that you know that you have seen me. You can say, she's Emma, she's okay. It's digital or safe situation, you could not verify things. And it's for this that the digital identity has to be separated from our real identity, and how we can protect and check it separated with the person of our data. How we can protect that using, for example, a good password. That, for example, has to be a long password with not reference to our name or our family or our date of birth, for example, or our pet family. We have to protect our identity. We have to protect the access that service and digital service ask us to use digital service or the program or the application. So we have to be aware about the information that we are sharing in the net. And because you're sharing and what we are making or what we are using or writing in the net stays. It's not so easy to change it. And it's for this that it is important to manage our file, to manage our digital identity. Because, for example, for represents you could be established, but they can keep on representing you well into the future, because content posted online or with the phone is possible to check back. So it's a good idea to think about how photos you post now will reflect on you down the line. If you think a photo, for example, in heart, a job prospect, relationships, or upset your grandmother, for example, consider sharing it, because you could know you have the shoe. You could say that that type of content material could be from the web. And while we have to be aware about all the data that we're sharing, because there are lots of cyber attacks that are using this information. That is one type, for example, of social engineering. For example, the phishing. It is the practice of emails appearing to be from reputable sources with the goal of influencing or getting personal information. For example, you can receive an email that you think that is came from your bank, but it's that. And this type of, we can say, attacks against infos are rising with the rising use of digital instruments and social media, because sometimes without things we're sharing a lot of data information that are not necessary. And another thing we have to understand is that to use and so to take all the opportunities that these instruments could give us that are really big and really great for job, for our contact with our family or friends, but to make a good use of all these digital instruments, we need to know, we need to understand what the instruments are doing, and why to use something, we need that thing. Or in other case, it's the thing. So the instrument that is using us. With that maybe before, that is a little bit a sort of find the balance between the need to share, so the need to explore, to enjoy, because it's really nice to use the social. I use the social a lot. Have a lot of social profile, and I enjoy it when I use it because I like communicate and create, for example. But we have to try to find a balance with the safety and protection of our identity. And for certain, we can say, phenomena, as for example, cyberbullying, it could be, it makes sense to make some question before speaking or before posting and before sharing some materials. For example, think if the thing that you're posting is true, think if it is helpful, so it is good for other person. It is inspiring because sometimes we heard that there are people who think that net is not safe, it's not a good place for us. I don't think that is, because the net, like other places, are made by persons who are inside. If I'm posting a thing that is not inspiring, that is not good, that is not nice, it's a problem of net. It's a of people who are that. Other things is that when I share an information, when I post a photos, or when I post a text, for example, write a text, it's necessary. It is necessary to make it really corresponds to what I want to say, and at the end we can say there are a lot of things that we are maybe hearing that are not so kind. For example, when we write things an accusation of another person who is not so real. I say thank you to you, And if we have only just 5 minutes, I'd like to to share with you a video. Um,
We will be sharing the video. We'll make the video work. Okay, you don't need to
okay.
share. Well, first of all, thank you very much for all this interesting information you gave, many of which I didn't know about, so that was quite revealing. So we'll just take the command of this, and we will the video. If you just bear with us a couple of seconds. To share videos through WebEx, I'm afraid. So we're trying our best. Just a second. Now, we also have a few questions that were shared with us in the form, in the registration form of the webinar. I wanted to ask you the question later on, but I would like to invite all participants to share some questions in the chat. So if you want to ask some questions to Emma, please don't hesitate. So we have a comment from Teresita saying that this lesson could be very important to your students in order to let them reflecting about the digital life. So in a few days, we will upload the recording of this webinar as well as the slides from Emma on our platform, eSkills for Job platform. You see the address there, and we will send an email. Now, we just try to put the video on. Because there are subtitles. Very much, Emma, for showing this video. I actually knew about this video. I've seen that before, and I think it's very strong and very revealing of how much we share online that we're not even aware of. Now, I have a few questions for you that were shared with us. So I will start asking you. You might want to lie. We don't have a lot of time, so we need to try to keep this brief. of available time, who should teach social network awareness? Parents or teachers?
It's a big question. First, because it depends. It depends on the age. The problem is that school students have to use the digital instruments for didactic purpose. So it's a bit different because, for example, by our condition, it's illegal to have a social profile before 14 years old. While we know that there are a lot of parents who are giving the smartphone to their child with the internet connection and without have a filter or you can say block permission to go to the internet. So in case it's important because school could do something about the awareness and the right use of the instruments, but when students are at school, if we have children who use it before school, maybe it depends, and it's a responsibility also from parents. Because the problem is that the awareness today, the big problem is that also adults or parents or teachers don't really know, don't are really comfortable with these things. And so I said that I don't like the term of digital natives because when we say that young people is digital natives, we like to say that they could use and they are good in use the digital instrument, while it's not that, because we know that they are born in a digital world, but they don't really know the instrument. And if you don't know the instrument, if you don't know how it works, you can use it. I can't or not.
I don't know if you answered, but I think it was a very relevant point you raised. Now we have another question. How do you know? This is a difficult one. They're all difficult, actually. I think. How do I know if the news at Google News really represent headline news and not the ones fitting my profile?
Not something.
So how do I know if the news that I find when I search on Google News that they repeat the actual headlines of the news and not the news that's fitting my Google profile? So how do I know that when I do a search, not only for news, I guess it was the question, on Google, the results I get are general results and not the results that are fitting my kind of profile?
First, because we are monitoring using the social. For example, when you use, when you make a research and you are going to a site, you could find the cookies regulation that is described. That the research and the infos and the data that you are visiting or checking are will be collected. You can make an option to not be monitoring for this. For example, you can choose if you use Firefox or use Chrome in the browser. You can decide to not make monitoring. The problem is that in particular the Google research engine it says about artificial intelligence because it puts together different data and information that are taken from different parts of the web. For example, why? Because the data sharing, for for example, in your Google Plus account, will be tagged and be in public research. That is the problem when we think that there is an option to private profile for social. That's true. You can your privacy option making your profile not public but private. But it's not so easy to manage because, for example, by default, the platform gives your profile and your basic information public to be found by other people. For example, I don't know if if not.
Yeah, I think it's quite clear, and I think that I would add on that maybe it would be good not just to use Google to look for news, but other search engines that could help maybe diversify a bit the kind of results we receive. That we have another question to which I will answer if you don't mind. The question asks, which resources would you advise to children so they are safe online and to raise interest in digital literacy? Well, to raise interest in digital literacy and to be safe are two different things. To be safe online, I would suggest you to come to our Better Internet for Kids website, where you can find loads of information. We also have the Safety Labels project that provides lots of information on that. So you will find all this on or all the things that come with the Safer Internet Day.
It's online, for example.
It's online as well. Thank you very much for integrating that. So there are loads of resources that you can find, for instance, as well, the InSafe network of Safer Internet Centers that you can find either at global level, but also at local, national level. Then we have another question on safe, bring your own devices, policies and practices. This is a very difficult one because, of course, when you ask children to bring their own devices, you have less control on that. I don't know if you have any answer to that because this is very difficult, I think.
That's true. In that case, it depends because there would be some policy of the use. If we are thinking about the school using your device, we have to put a policy and implement it. The important is if we have, for example, some peers to use the Wi-Fi connection to the schools. Because, for example, we know that there are some sites in which people, children could go on. For example, if we speak about YouTube, I know that everybody is using YouTube to video, or also to see video, to watch video. But what's the point? For example, a lot of times, sometimes schools or also parents don't create a children account. That is one, for example, because you could filter, you could, we can say, manage the information and video that people is watching. And for that, for example, in America, and I think that last winter, maybe in France too, YouTube is on the net with a channel for children, where the material and the content are good for them. Because the great problem is that, and it is a difference between a gap between the northern countries and southern countries in Europe, for example. While the navigation, when the navigation, so the use of internet and use of didactic instruments in the school, like in the northern countries, for example, students have more skills, so they have more competence, and they could use the things with more awareness. And this is not the case, for example, in Italy or in other southern countries of Europe. For example, major traffic in internet made by children and teens is made from their own rooms, for example. This is a problem because when they find a content that is not really appropriate, they could speak with an adult or an educator or a teacher to and so to so we can say to context the concept. I don't know if it's clear or not.
I think you answered, you replied to this question. I thought it was very difficult, but I think you made a very good point. There was another point on recognizing a fake avatar, but I think that we will need to close it up. So, if you maybe you can briefly, but just in 30 seconds, suggest on how to recognize trolls and fake avatar, and then unfortunately we will need to close the webinar.
Trolls is different from fake avatar because trolls are people who use violence to share content, for example, or when they write some text. So it's simple to understand when there is a troll and still the trolls. Which is the first point. About the fake, it depends. Because if you mean fake as in real identity, it's a fix. If you think thief of identity, for example, Anushka, thief identity, digital identity, and presents herself as Emma, that is an legal problem that is a little bit different from fake. The second point one means that you using these digital instruments, you can be sure of the risk on your part of your screen. Could not be sure if I don't know Anushka in real life, if she's that's the problem.
I think it's a delicate point. It's sometimes no harm in fake or multiple identities, but certainly there is never a certainty of getting to know who is really the person behind the username, let's say. So I would like to thank
Only
you very
the thing
much.
that we can say is that anonymous doesn't exist. Yes, because that children use a lot of Snapchat and that thinks that the photos and the contents will be eliminated. It's not like this because each PC has an IP address that could be find from posts, and that is a good thing. So when someone is doing something saying that he is anonymous, it's quite right in the case that it can seem to be another person or be anonymous. Don't make a face, but the connection for example, could be space, their time and resource and to do it, but police do it, for example.
Our students, it's also important to understand that anonymity is not always the case. So they should be aware of their deeds in the digital domain. Well, I would like to thank you very much, Emma, for this very interesting webinar and talk. It has been a pleasure, and it has been very informative. So as I was saying at the beginning, you will find the recording of this webinar and the slides that Emma provided on our website at eSkills, and we will also send you an email to all of those who participated to the webinar, telling you about the webinar, where you will be able to find the recording and the sites. Well, unfortunately, we will need to close it here. Thank you very much, and to all of you, have a nice day, and we'll be in touch. Thanks, Emma. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.